The initial Rivals 300 is out. We have some updates I want to talk to with Director of Scouting and Ranking here at Rivals, Charles Power. Let's start right at the top. New number 1, Jackson Canwell. He bumps edge Zion Ely. We love the offensive tackle Canwell out of Missouri. Why is he our new number 1?
Yeah, Josh, Jackson Cantwell, we view him as probably the most sure thing entering the senior season. But, he just has so many things you like, the size, the play strength. He's dominant run blocker. Just a guy who's really kind of like a bulletproof prospect, or one of the more bulletproof prospects entering the senior season. But this is a wide open race. I think it's one of the more wide open races we've seen for the number 1 prospect going into the senior season. So it's going to be really exciting to track.
Absolutely. And now we have a new number 1 at quarterback as well. He's number 1 at quarterback, number 2 overall in the rankings. Quarterback Dabel committed to Texas.
Yeah, Josh, Dabel had a great offseason, building on a strong junior season at American Heritage in South Florida. The most technically sound, polished quarterback in this cycle, an advanced passer, and there's just a ton to like about Dabel. And he's a guy who could legitimately challenge for that number 1 spot with a great senior season.
Man, the Horns have an embarrassment of riches at the quarterback position. Dabel now our new number 1. All right, let's move on. I want to talk a couple 5-star movers. You guys can go check out all the Rivals updates on the 300 on the website, rivals.com. But I want to talk edge Luke Welful right now. Why was he a big mover for us?
Josh, this is a great edge cycle nationally. If you're picking one guy at edge to play in a college football game right now, I'm going with Luke Welful. He is ready to go physically. 6'5.5", 255 pounds, speed, power, physically developed, a guy who's just kind of a brute as a pass rusher. So there's so much to like there. He's just a guy who there was really a intense recruiting battle for Luke Welful.
Without a doubt.
Between USC and Ohio State, with USC ultimately winning out. And I mean, we view him as a guy who's worth that amount of effort and resources when you look at just kind of what he brings to the table. This is a guy who I think could really project as an impact freshman, maybe even like a starter coming out of high school. So a guy who is kind of instant impact, high floor, but also has a high ceiling.
I mean, that's essentially exactly what you want out of a 5-star recruit, right?
Especially in the NIL era, for sure. Like teams are looking for instant impacts with these high profile, high dollar recruits.
All right, athlete. Lamar Brown, our number 1 athlete. How many times have our number 1 athlete in your career of rankings been 285 pounds?
Yeah, never been a number 1 athlete that big. And Josh, Lamar Brown is a unique prospect. Really, I almost kind of think of him as like the Travis Hunter of linemen. This is a guy who played a lot of offensive line to this point in high school. Probably projects primarily as a defensive lineman moving forward. He's 6'4", 280 pounds. This is a guy who ran in the 4.8s in the 40-yard dash at Under Armour's New Orleans camp. And he can really move. Just so much versatility, so much athleticism. He's really kind of a freak physically. So he's a guy that LSU has to be ecstatic to get him in the fold. He's a hometown guy, goes to high school on LSU's campus. So a huge get for them, and a guy who I think you have to project as an impact player. And there's so many avenues for him being a successful, big time college player, just with how versatile he is.
Yeah, really exciting pickup for LSU. He committed there just about a week ago. So number 1 athlete is now off the board. He's an LSU commit. Let's talk a couple more big movers. Let's talk Notre Dame commitment, Grayson Mchugh. Now we love this Notre Dame class, and now it gets another boost just in the rankings. I mean, McHugh's been committed to Notre Dame, but what do we love about him? Why is he now number 13 overall?
Yeah, shocker. Notre Dame adds another high-profile offensive tackle. Grayson Mchugh, I think, might have the highest upside of any of these offensive tackles. This is a guy who began his career as a tight end defensive end. He has a huge frame, great movement skills, and I think when you look at just the development he's made physically, he's added 30 pounds of good weight to his frame, and really kind of, to us, mirrors the similar developmental arc of Joe Alt. A guy who Notre Dame brought in, was kind of a tight end defensive end, ended up starting as a true freshman for them and before becoming a top 5 pick. Sure. We think Grayson Mchugh is of that caliber, and he's a guy who is right on the 5-star cusp for us, just given the strides he's made. And he's a guy we're really looking forward to watching as a senior, but he's currently tracking as a guy who is going to be in strong 5-star contention.
All right, let's talk about another big mover, DB Lawrence Timmons, a legacy prospect for Florida State. His dad played linebacker there when I was in college at FSU.
Okay, dude.
Now his son is a defensive back. You got him ranked number 39. Definitely an outlier for Rivals.
Yeah, Lawrence Timmons, there's so much to like about what he brings to the table as a corner. I think first off, he is a magnet to the football. Great ball skills. He's a two-way player in high school, plays receiver and corner, just always around the ball, great instincts. I mean, a high interception rate, a ton of pass breakup. So that's one thing that's really important at corner is just the ball skills, ball production. But he's also added a ton of athleticism this past year, running sub 11 in the 100 meters. I think when you look at the combine numbers, one of the top athletes at corner in this cycle. So when you kind of take the full breadth of the ball skills, the instincts, the athleticism, the pedigree, there's so much to like about Lawrence Timmons. And I think if you're a Florida State fan, you have to be ecstatic about going in and flipping him from Indiana, a legacy commit, and a guy who I think is a great player and one who I think will carry on that tradition of top corners at Florida State.
All right, let's talk about Oregon quarterback commitment Bryson Beaver. Now, he was a name that didn't really hit my radar until Oregon offered him. His recruitment was pretty quick after that, but now he's ranked number 44 overall, so we're talking a top 50 player in America.
Yeah, meteoric rise for Bryson Beaver. This is a guy who really kind of got on the radar with his Elite 11 regional workout. Got him invited to the Elite 11 finals, and he was one of the top arms at the Elite 11 finals for us. But you go back and watch Bryson Beaver's junior film, and you see a ton of high-level throws. So we were excited to see him at the Elite 11 finals, went into that week, and his arm talent took a backseat to nobody. I think he's one of the top arm talents in the cycle, can make throws from every platform, big arm. He carries it over to Friday nights. A guy who just was kind of flying under the radar and started his recruitment just kind of blew up in tandem with these evaluations and his showings on the camp circuit. But this is a guy who's very deserving of where he's ranked, in our opinion. We're excited to watch him as a senior, and I think he's a guy who his rise may not be over if he can continue to build on the positive momentum he had from the offseason.
All right, well, those are just a couple updates from the latest Rivals 300. Go check it out on Rivals.com.